Never quite understood why these mainstream authors are all such entitled assholes. And they go out there and they just love to lambast people who would be their fans. They're in giant Hollywood contracts and they hate half the country. And they can't even work because they're just so paralyzed by just looking at online fake news articles all day that they just go ballistic on people. George R.R. Martin, of course, is one of the worst. He's always been a woke SJW. You guys have known this. And of course, he's been unable to even write his Game of Thrones. He'll do anything else other than sit down and just pen the book that everybody's been waiting for years. And he's written a lengthy blog, of course, blaming you, toxic fans, for criticizing him on this rather than actually finishing his book. It's crazy. Now, over here, I'm a very productive person. Of course, I don't take the ticket with Hollywood. I'm not sitting there, writing this, satanic porn crap that George R.R. Martin is, and that's exactly why I will never get hired. I'm not going to shut up, and I'm not going to be one of them. I'm not going to be able to be blackmailed like these people are. There's a whole host of problems with the mainstream entertainment industry, but that's why you're here. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author myself. You can check out a lot of books on Amazon. I'm very productive. I don't make excuses. I also write comic books, and I've got one on Kickstarter right now, All Eyes on Ashley, and this is, of course, a beautiful, beautiful book with Mike S. Miller on the art. And we're doing a wonderful job. 2,500 in just a few days for this comic book. And of course, it is going to be a lot of fun for everybody who wants to check this out. Support the channel, support work that actually gets done. The book's already done before we launched here. That link's in the description below, and I really appreciate you guys for doing so. We'd love to get to 100 backers today. Now, I'd also love for you to hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate you guys being here. So I covered this on Fandom Pulse this morning. I do journalism as well. I work so hard. It drives me crazy because I see these fat slobs like George R.R. Martin who don't want to work ever. And it's it's frustrating. But it's not frustrating like he's frustrated. Here it is. And we're going to just go over this blog. It's absolutely crazy what he's doing rather than writing. In years past, I would often do a blog post at New Year's looking back over the year that was ending in a year to come. And here he is. He's already has the sads. This year, though, as I reflected on the year we just lived through, I found I had no appetite for living through any of that again. 2023 was a nightmare of a year for the world and the nation, and for me and mine, both professionally and personally. I'm glad it's over. Oh my gosh, you're stunning and brave there. Just surviving. You're a survivor, George R.R. Martin. Unfortunately, so far, 2024 looks even worse. He goes on and says there's war everywhere. Of course, he'll gloss over the war everywhere element and where it all comes from. It comes from the leftist, crazy, nutjob, global homo weirdos like you, George R.R. Martin, who are now in our government, in our media, in our military, taking everything and turning it into just some distraction war from the fact that our economy is collapsing. Of course, I don't want to get way too far into politics, but unfortunately, this is what his blog's about, and he just glosses over the fact, who's in charge of this war, George R.R. Martin? Who started this? Oh, it's Trump. Wait a minute. Meanwhile, the U.S. grows more polarized every day. So he starts this out pretending like it's going to be just a, talk about, this isn't good. Everybody, is polarized against each other because the elites are doing their thing. Nope, it's Trump. Hate is rising. Democracy is under threat. Wait a minute, what? From who? We're having an election. Oh, you mean the guy is winning in the polls that you don't want to get elected because everybody's sick of the crap, the wars, the bad economy, the terrible 2023 that you just talked about, which was all caused by your little political tribe. Oh, right. That's why democracy is under threat. Millions of Americans have swallowed the lie that the 2020 election was stolen. So you see where he starts to go with this. Oh, my God. First off, the 2020 election was 100% stolen. It was done so through the whole mail-in balloting system. They shut down the entire economy, shut down the world with this fake COVID crap in order to, of course, steal this election. We know this at this point. They're trying to do it again, by the way. They're like, there's a mega virus coming. They're trying to do it again by having emergency wars break out with Iran and things like that. They really, really don't want a free and fair election, which is really funny because they always say democracy is under threat from having a free and fair election. That's always their deal here, and they won't allow it. Newspeak has taken over political discourse. Cancel culture is destroying lives and careers. Wait a minute. Full stop. You guys are the ones who are perpetuating cancel culture. If you say anything about the LGBT agenda, about grooming children or whatever, you get canceled. You get fired from your jobs, all because of your people, George R. R. Martin. You know this. The gaslighting's absolutely crazy. And of course, it's all Trump. We have a disgrace indicted venomous ex-president winning primaries, openly declaring he will be a dictator on day one and will govern on a platform of retribution when he's not busy grabbing women by the pussy. Well, that's something you never have to worry about, George R. R. Martin. No woman's ever going to let you near her. Oh my gosh, absolutely crazy right here. This guy's sick. And of course, he's so sick he can't even work, which is really what this is. This is a distraction from the fact that he hasn't finished the Game of Thrones book he promised years ago. Think about this, guys. He's not talking about this. He's refusing to answer any questions on it. It's absolutely crazy. Let's distract you with Drumpf. His last attempt to overthrow the government failed on January 6th. Oh my gosh. Do you guys are these people for real? I guess he's a fantasy author, so he's concocted a fantasy in his mind where Trump is literally one of his Game of Thrones characters, and maybe that's how he's not writing the book, because he's busy gaming this out in his head. It's the only thing I can think of here. But of course, it's not hard to escape the feeling we live in a Weimar Republic. So of course, we're here, and the minute Trump gets elected, you know what that means. Literal Nazis. Yes. Stunning and brave. So here he goes. I am famous and wealthy, and supposedly I have a big platform, whatever that is. But I have grown more and more cynical about this supposed power that the people keep telling me I have. Has anything I have ever written here changed a single mind, a single vote? I see no evidence of that. The era of rational discourse seems to have ended. My God. So this is the little entitlement here. Because he's famous and wealthy and has a big platform, he thinks that you should vote how he tells you to, or else you're not a rational person. You can't have rational discourse. This is how these people act. This is why they go crazy. This is why we've been covering all this over the last week with these industry professionals trying to get conservatives banned from conventions, just trying to make sure we're blacklisted out there. They can't handle anybody else's ideas other than their own. You want to talk about rational discourse? George R. R. Martin has none. He just painted this fantasy picture of this evil Nazi out there, which doesn't even exist. Joe Biden's been running this country into the ground for the last few years. George, wake up. But of course, if you're going to influence anybody to vote with this whiny, crappy rhetoric where you sit here and act like a bitch online, forgive my language, you're going to convince people to vote the opposite way. Good work, bro. So here it is. And of course, he talks about people dying. For that matter, the human race may be entirely forgotten. If climate change does not get us, war will. Too many countries have nukes. Is this 1984? Oh. And of course, he goes full passive-aggressive soy boy right here. Sigh. Unbelievable. So here it is. I take solace where I can in chocolate thrones, if nowhere else. I suggest you stop eating the chocolate. You look like you're prone to diabetes there, George. Not a good idea. In books, films, and television shows. Not yours, though, because you're not really doing anything. You need to write your books and shut up. I mean, God. Here it is, though. He blames you now, the toxic fans, after blaming Donald Trump for not being able to do anything and being paralyzed in his writing, being paralyzed in his career, having the SADs, having climate change and nukes. It's all Donald Trump's fault. But guys, really, the real problem is you. This is how the Hollywood elites always act. It's so sick. They always blame the fans over and over and over. And here it is. Though even their toxicity is growing. It used to be fun talking about favorite books and films. It still is over here, George R. R. Martin. But our books we actually finish. We get them done. People talk to me about them. I get some critics, of course. People, of course, have their say or whatever. But for the most part, it's just a lot of fun. We talk about things. We talk about what might come next. And it's enjoyable. But of course, you don't have that because you're not actually writing or finishing your books, you doofus. That's all it is. Oh, my gosh. And having spirited debates with fans who saw things different. You'll block anybody, of course, who sees things different. But somehow in this age of social media, it's no longer enough to say, I did not like book X or film Y, and here's why. Now social media is filled with anti-fans who would rather talk about the stuff they hate than the stuff they love, and delight in dancing on the graves of anyone whose film has flopped. Well, maybe stop making crappy films. I mean, is it that hard? I don't understand these people. It's like, it's the fans' fault for not just accepting the crap we're trying to shove down their throats. It's the fans' fault because we're turning every character a gay and making every other character a chick and making it lame. It's all so sad. Yes, it is all so sad, George R.R. Martin. Finish your freaking book. And of course, he goes off on land of immigrants and all this stuff, and how these immigrants at the borders who are bringing fentanyl and of course causing rampant crime are somehow going to save us. Okay, they're not watching your films, bro. They don't even speak English. But now I've made you all depressed and angry. Let me close with something nice. And of course, here's a bunch of stuff. He got a bunch of nice texts about somebody dying. Okay, but what about Game of Thrones? Well, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. Current mood is depressed. Well, we're happy over here. We're making our books. We're having fun, guys. I hope you'll join us. Back All Eyes on Ashley. Hit the like and subscribe button. Join our community. We love you over here. This is quite the opposite. When you're in independent spaces like this, we do not lambast you. We don't blame the fans for anything. We just have our fun and we respect each other. And that is the difference between us and, of course, the Hollywood entertainment machine, where they put themselves up on pedestals at the end of the day. They want to tell you that somehow you're worse than them. You owe them either just bowing down in praise to them or something like that. I guess that's what they want. And then, of course, voting how they want as well. That's a sick, entitled attitude at the end of the day. And George R.R. Martin should know better. I mean, anybody who's started in this industry should understand from humble beginnings that, like, every sale, everyone who reads is just a joy, and it's a blessing, and it's a good thing. And so we treat you guys with respect over here, even if George R.R. Martin won't. And I will tell you, George, finish your frickin' book and shut the hell up. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.